Hi, I'm Wendy Lakusta, and I'm here with my partner, Sharon Sutherland. And welcome to this segment of Mediation Works. This segment is a special segment, actually, to celebrate Conflict Resolution Week. And the theme of ConRes Week this year, 2015, is behind the scenes. So we decided that we would go behind the scenes with mediator professional development and learning and so on. And having said that, a really good example of some great pro-D and learning and experiences that we did recently was to participate, Sharon and myself and 3 other mediators and then 10 other team members. We all worked together in a global scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
And the scavenger hunt, we call it by the acronym GISHWIS, which is the greatest
international scavenger hunt the world has ever seen.
That's right. And it was started about 5 years ago by Misha Collins, who's one of the actors, lead actors actually, on the show Supernatural, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. And the purpose of it is a fundraiser for random acts. And so essentially what we did is they would send out over 200 tasks or assignments to the teams. And then we would have to complete those tasks, and we would have to take a photo or a video and then post it on their website, our team's website, and we would get points for it. And then you try to win, and at the end of the day, one team gets a trip. But it was pretty cool. We did it for the fundraiser and for the fun and for the learning. And so we kind of broke it down into what did we learn taking part in GISHWIS. And the first thing that was a really good refresher for us as mediators was collaborating.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And we were kind of thinking in terms of categories of what does it do to stimulate creative juices? Because we do a lot of different things that are just separate from mediation practice. We might be physically active. We might go for a run because it helps us get into the right state of mind. Whatever it is. But we both found GISHWIS did so many more because it was such a broad array.
Yeah.
And that collaboration was absolutely key because starting off, GISHWIS is definitely, it's a team sport. You are in there working with a team. You need to start by divvying up what ended up being 215 tasks. And we had people in different parts of the world. We had teammates in Wisconsin and Australia. We had mediators in Fraser Lake, in Kamloops, in Calgary. So we really needed to get together, come up with a joint strategy, and figure out how, with a group of 15, how do you actually move forward with a plan? And then all of those elements of teamwork, like trust. When Wendy says she can get a whole bunch of postal workers to do a conga line in a video, I'm kind of going, yeah, sure, Wendy, you go with that one. But because you know people, you may already have some trust. With people you're learning to work with, you develop the trust because you start seeing the products that they produce.
Put up your hand if you're a postal worker. Yeah! Now conga.
All right.
Exactly. And the 5 of us mediators that were on our team have worked together in various projects over the years, and so we did know each other, which was really helpful. I felt a little less certain with some of the people that I was just newly introduced to, but boy, did they come through.
Oh, I
know. It's amazing. Yeah, it was really amazing.
Yeah. Do you want me to kind of, the next one I was thinking of was the physical.
Yes.
And only because I'd already kind of mentioned sports as kind of one way that people sometimes do that and engage and get your mind in the right mindset. Because one of the things really on a simple basis that GISHWIS does is have a number of different physical tests. The one, I'm going to give an example of one that I did that was a wonderful experience and was not actually a requirement, but we did have to make an action trailer it was an action movie trailer of a video of a film that would be starring a pot roast. I ended up going on a zip line, carrying a pot roast, Captain Pot Roast, and flying down the zip line. It was awesome.
It was awesome. It really was, yeah. And that was probably one of the most creative ones. And people would have maybe gone with some easier thing like pot roast football or something. You went the extra mile, so literally. So that was excellent. Yeah, that's probably. Oh, the other one that involved physical that I really loved was our team member Darsey doing the what do they call it? Hands that I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, double dream hands.
Double dream hands. Yeah, that was another really good example of a physical one.
Up, punch, across, crank, stay down, shoulder, chin, shoulder, and pat, double dream hands.
And then there was the trapeze.
Yes, actually, we recruited a colleague who's actually president of CORE. I'm gonna put in that little plug there. But she actually wore barrister's robes, and she went on a trapeze with a headset and carried on a telephone conversation about tax law while trapezing.
So subsection 233.2 sub 4 has a penalty provision, but the amended clause 21 sub 5 of the
right. and that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
So then moving into another category that we identified, and that's just plain silly.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite silly ones?
Oh, I was going to say, like, one of the reasons silly is great is because, of course, just in mediation, sometimes using those silly kinds of things, humor, ways to break things up, it is something that you want to do. And here, just really being able to throw yourself and indulge in the silly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my favorite probably of all the things we did, because I'm just really proud of the photo, is we had to do a sophisticated game of golf. It had to be on the public lawn of a national monument, and it had to be played by all zombies. So, so we went out and took a fantastic shot, I think, down at Peace Arch Park.
Yeah, it was fabulous. That's my favorite one too. It was really good. And I'm just looking here. One of the other ones. Oh, one that I did, and it was so funny. I had my problem-solving hat on as I'm walking through Value Village, looking for costumes for a few of the other tasks, and I just happened to see this little globe. And then I texted you right in the middle of Value Village and said, have we done the end of the world yet? And you said, no. You text back, no, we still need to do that. So I said, I'm on it, right? So, because all of a sudden I just had this flash, they gave us the choice of how the world's going to end, the bang, the crunch, or the ice freeze. And so I got a black coat with a hood and a death mask, and put my little globe there, and then I got a big ice bucket that had ice bucket challenge, and I'm gonna end the world with an ice bucket challenge.
It was awesome. That's one of my favorite photos, actually. And partly because when I first saw it, I wasn't connecting with the challenge, and I was just going, okay, that's really cool. And then it just suddenly went off for me that, oh, that's brilliant. So it was awesome. I'm going to skip into kind of the next category we talked about was artistic. And I think what's interesting about a lot of the things we want to do as mediators is to just try and stretch other kinds of muscles. Some people engage in just different types of music and even use music in their mediations. Improv, different things that kind of get us to think differently, and thinking visually and metaphorically, all of those kinds of things are they're tied into that artistic imagination, I think.
Right.
So the fact that we were asked to do a lot of tasks that made us challenge ourselves artistically. I don't know, I really enjoyed that.
I did too. Such as Taryn's car.
Well,
the beautiful painting she did on a car.
She was the best, and we did have a teammate who painted a picture of a musician riding a unicorn on the hood of a car, and it was sensational.
Yeah.
But I think we all did some interesting things, and especially kind of last minute trying to finish some things, like building a 2-foot-tall dog out of sanitary napkins is a hard. it's a tough task, but it is artistic.
Yeah, exactly. And in the artistic line, artistic and silly, was I had to take a tour of a water sewage treatment plant dressed in formal attire with a flutist. Or flautist? I don't know.
But it was
anyway,
good.
but that kind of went across a couple of categories. But again, it made us think. How can we put this together? How can we strategize and put this together?
Yeah, I think
as we do as mediators.
Well, I was going to say, frankly, everything was visual because we had to create it into an image. We had to create videos, so all of it was artistic on some level. I'm going to say the going out into the community was awesome.
Yes.
That what we were doing was bringing some of the fun and the silly to other people. So it wasn't just the team was having an awesome time. But so many of the tasks were outward focused and engaged somebody else. I mean, I loved going with my daughter down to the local deli where she ordered a sandwich without the bread and in fact take away the meat, and could I just have the condiments on a plate, and then stood at the counter and ate it. And simply the reaction of everybody, the people behind the counter loved it. They were excited, they were engaged, they could see me with the camera, and they thought it was fun.
Right.
But you watch all these other people around kind of going,
Roast beef sandwich, please. Hold the roast beef and hold the bread and just the condiments.
You want the spoon or you want?
Yes, please. That would be great. Thank you.
So part of our collaboration was bringing in outside folks to help us to accomplish these.
absolutely.
Yeah. And two of my favorite tasks were the balloon popping game.
Oh yeah.
Where I had to get 10 friends to take part in popping balloons on each other, and that was good for a giggle. In fact, I watched that over and over if I need to laugh. And my other favorite one was a good friend of mine is a postal worker, and one of my assignments was to get a conga line made up exclusively of postal workers.
Yeah.
And so I contacted her, and she said, "Hey, you're in luck. They have their annual postal worker union picnic this weekend." And I'm like, perfect, right? So I went out there, and they were so helpful, and I made new friends, and they gave me a samosa, and we exchanged numbers, and it was a great day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So Wendy, I think the last thing that we identified as something that was kind of a different way of dealing with creativity, it also really tapped into what we as mediators probably care a lot about, is just that a lot of these tasks were about kindness.
Yes.
They were about going out into the community and doing a random act that would somehow bring kindness into the lives of somebody. Some of them were, really explicit. Go take a gift to a different community center. Go and make people who are working in an organization that is all run by volunteers make their day, somehow bring joy to their day.
Yeah.
And even just thinking about what you would do on those kinds of things is awesome. Brainstorming about how would you change the world, what would you do to make it a better place. Those kinds of things were just, I think they were really meaningful, and they were a way for all of us who are in the mediation profession to kind of reflect a little bit on just how often are we able to do those things that make a difference in people's lives outside of our profession. We often feel really satisfied with things that happen in mediations, and don't always carry it outside. And this was a really nice reminder. Here's a challenge. Try and do all of these different small acts and bring kindness to other people.
I love that part of it too. Yeah, one of the most heartwarming assignments I did was take a beautiful bouquet of sunflowers to this beautiful little lady in a retirement community to brighten her day. And she told me that she rarely has visitors. She was absolutely floored and thrilled that she had a visitor, and she couldn't believe she got to keep the flowers. It was so horrible.
And that in and of itself might be a great motivation
Yes.
for others, because I think we want to challenge others to do this too. Because it can be a professional development opportunity for more than just mediators.
Yes.
Lots of different professions are going to feel like you actually need something that just is refreshing. It shifts your gears, it gets you more creative, gets you thinking and doing fun stuff, and it taps into that community giving that maybe you don't get the time.
The human aspect of what we do for a living.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So we're in it for 2016, and we hope there'll be other teams of mediators competing with us.
Absolutely. So the challenge is on.